I requested an open marriage to pursue my gym trainer, and now I'm 30 and single. I thought asking for an open marriage would make me feel free. Instead, it showed me exactly how replaceable I was. I used to believe people like me didn't end up alone. I had done everything right. I married young, married well, and married a man who loved me deeply. Ryan wasn't just a good husband, he was the kind of man people quietly envied. Stable. Kind. Loyal. The type who brought me coffee in bed on Sundays and never forgot the small things. The type who looked at me like I was still the woman he fell in love with, even when life got repetitive. And that was the problem. Repetition. Predictability. Comfort that slowly began to feel like a cage. I didn't wake up one day wanting to destroy my marriage. I woke up bored. And boredom, I learned too late, can be more dangerous than anger or hatred. Because boredom whispers lies. It convinces you that something better is just one choice away, that happiness is being delayed by the life you already have. This is the story of how I believed that lie. This is the story of how I asked for freedom and got replaced instead. Ryan and I met when life still felt like a promise instead of a routine. We were both 24, broke, ambitious, and full of plans we thought would automatically come true just because we believed in them hard enough. He worked long hours in finance. I was finishing my degree, dreaming of a life that felt meaningful, beautiful, and exciting. We built ourselves together, not dramatically, not with grand gestures, but with consistency. We married 3 years later. The wedding wasn't extravagant, but it was sincere. Ryan cried when I walked down the aisle. I remember squeezing his hands during our vows, feeling safe in a way I didn't yet know how rare that was. People used to tell me, "You married one of the good ones." I smiled when they said it, but I didn't really hear it. Because when you're young, you assume good things are replaceable. Marriage with Ryan was easy. Too easy, I would later say. He never raised his voice. Never made me feel small. Never disappeared emotionally or physically. If we argued, it was about dishes, money, timing, or what show to watch. He listened when I spoke. He remembered what mattered to me. When my father got sick, Ryan rearranged his entire work schedule without complaint. When I had anxiety attacks, he held me until my breathing slowed. This wasn't a fairy tale romance. It was better. And slowly, quietly, I began to resent it. Around our 6th year of marriage, something shifted inside me. Not because Ryan changed, he didn't, but because I did. My social media feeds became windows into lives that looked louder, freer, more colorful than mine. Friends traveling spontaneously. Divorcees rediscovering themselves. Women posting gym selfies with captions about choosing themselves. I started comparing my life to highlight reels. And comparison is a thief that doesn't steal loudly. It steals patiently. Ryan would come home excited to tell me about his day, and I'd half listen while scrolling through my phone. He'd suggest date nights I'd postpone. Trips I'd delay. Conversations I'd shorten. I told myself I was tired. Busy. Just in a phase. But the truth was uglier. I was bored with being chosen by the same man every day. That's when I joined the gym. At first, it was innocent. I wanted to feel attractive again. Wanted something that belonged only to me. Ryan supported it immediately, bought me workout clothes, helped me schedule sessions around his work, even joked about how strong I was getting. That support should have grounded me. Instead, it freed me to drift. Derek was assigned as my trainer after my first assessment. He was confident in that effortless way that feels intoxicating when you're starved for novelty. He complimented my discipline. Made jokes during workouts. Remembered details about my life. He didn't know me deeply, but he didn't need to. He made me feel interesting again. I told myself it was harmless. After all, Ryan trusted me completely. The messages started as check-ins. Workout reminders. Diet suggestions. Then jokes. Then late-night replies. Then flirty comments disguised as encouragement. Derek didn't know my marriage. Or maybe he did, but it didn't matter to him. And here's the hardest truth to admit. I liked that he didn't love me. Because love comes with expectations. And I was running from mine. I'd leave the gym flushed and energized, replaying conversations in my head like scenes from a movie. I stopped telling Ryan about my day in detail. Not because I was hiding something, at least that's what I told myself, but because Derek felt like a secret world that belonged only to me. Emotional affairs don't start with intention. They start with justification. By the time I realized how attached I was, I had already rewritten the story in my head. Ryan became predictable. Derek became exciting. My marriage became a limitation. My feelings became destiny. And destiny, I convinced myself, deserved honesty. That's how I arrived at the idea that would ruin everything. I didn't think of it as betrayal. I thought of it as evolution. I rehearsed the conversation with Ryan for days. In my head, it was calm. Rational. Mature. I imagined myself sounding enlightened, progressive, honest. I imagined him being confused at first, maybe hurt, but ultimately understanding. I told myself love meant flexibility. That real commitment could survive openness. That asking for an open marriage didn't mean I loved him less, it just meant I wanted to explore myself more. That was the lie I practiced until it sounded like truth. We were sitting at the kitchen table when I finally said it. The same table where we'd eaten dinner hundreds of times. The same place he used to rest his hand on my knee while we talked about our days. He looked relaxed. Comfortable. Safe. I almost stopped myself. Almost. I've been feeling restless, I began. Ryan listened the way he always did, full attention, no phone, no interruptions. That look of concern crept into his eyes, the one that used to make me feel cared for. This time, it made me feel trapped. I told him I felt like I was missing out on life. That I loved him, but I didn't feel fulfilled. That maybe marriage didn't have to look the same forever. I used words like growth and honesty and freedom. Then I said it. I think I want an open marriage. The silence that followed was heavier than anything I'd imagined. Ryan didn't yell. Didn't cry. Didn't ask who. He just stared at the table like something precious had slipped through his fingers and shattered on the floor. For how long? He asked quietly. I told him I didn't know. That it didn't have to change anything between us. That he was still my husband. That I just wanted to explore a connection I felt. That's when he looked at me. And the man, who had adored me for nearly a decade, disappeared in front of my eyes. He nodded slowly, stood up, and said something I wasn't prepared for. Okay. Relief flooded me. Too much relief. I'm glad you're open to. I didn't say I was open to it, he interrupted. I said okay. That night, Ryan didn't sleep beside me. I told myself he just needed time. I didn't realize he was already grieving, not the marriage, but the woman he thought I was. I fell asleep believing I had won. The next morning, Ryan was calm in a way that unsettled me. He made coffee. Got dressed for work. Kissed me on the forehead like he always did. But something was gone. Not anger, attachment. The warmth had drained out of him, leaving behind a politeness that felt colder than any argument. That evening, he didn't come home. I texted him once. Then twice. Then stopped myself from looking desperate. Around 9 p.m., he finally called. "I'm out," he said. "On a date." The word hit me like a slap. "With who?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. "Alyssa." "From work." I knew Alyssa. She was beautiful in a way I pretended not to notice before. Smart. Elegant. The kind of woman who didn't post thirst traps or chase attention. The kind I suddenly felt painfully inferior to. "You said you wanted an open marriage," Ryan continued evenly. "So I'm being open." This wasn't how it was supposed to go. In my fantasy, I was the one exploring. Ryan was supposed to stay steady. Waiting. Safe. Loyal. I hadn't imagined him desired by someone else. I hadn't imagined how replaceable I could be. When he came home late that night, he didn't smell like guilt. He smelled like clarity. He didn't touch me. Didn't ask questions. Didn't demand explanations. He slept like a man who had finally accepted the truth. And I lay awake realizing, too late, that I had underestimated the man I married. Derek didn't save me. That's the part people don't talk about. Once Ryan emotionally detached, Derek became distant. The flirtation cooled. The messages slowed. When I hinted at something more, he laughed it off. "We're just having fun," he said. Friendly banter. That phrase gutted me. I had detonated my marriage for friendly banter. Meanwhile, Ryan changed rapidly. He laughed more. Dressed better. Stayed out later. Alyssa didn't compete with me, she replaced me without effort. Within months, Ryan asked for a divorce. He didn't blame me. Didn't insult me. He simply said he couldn't unsee what I'd shown him, that my commitment was conditional, and his love deserved better. Watching him walk away wasn't dramatic. It was worse. It was quiet. I moved back into my childhood bedroom at 30 years old. The gym no longer felt empowering. Derek stopped replying altogether. My friends stopped romanticizing freedom when they saw the aftermath. Ryan is engaged now. He looks happy in a way I once took credit for. I destroyed my marriage chasing excitement, mistaking novelty for fulfillment and attention for love. I confused boredom with unhappiness and fantasy with truth. I didn't lose Ryan because I wanted honesty. I lost him because I didn't value loyalty until it was gone. This isn't a story about an open marriage. It's a story about self-sabotage. And learning, far too late, that not every door you open leads to freedom. Some only show you what you were foolish enough to leave behind.